In the streets, there's one code that's carved deeper than any tattoo. Snitching is worse than death. It's the rule you never bend, the boundary you never dare to cross. Loyalty is everything, and once you flip, you're finished. But now, the whispers are spreading like wildfire. Word on the block is YNW Bortlen just shattered that code into pieces. They say he couldn't handle the weight, the pressure closing in from every angle. And the second he cracked, the streets lit up with chatter. If it's true, this isn't just gossip. It's a game-ending move. Because in this world, the moment you're branded a snitch, you don't just lose clout, you lose your entire identity. Once that stain is on your name, it never fades. Staring down the possibility of life behind bars, the pressure finally broke him. The weight of that reality was too heavy, and he snapped in a way nobody saw coming. After holding in for so long, he finally cracked. And when he did, it wasn't some small slip-up. What he revealed lit the internet on fire. He laid down evidence so wild, so jaw-dropping, it sent shockwaves through every corner of the case. No rumors, no guessing. He pointed fingers directly at YNW Melly himself, tying him straight to the murders. And just like that, the story flipped upside down. What was one speculation became a bombshell revelation. The latest video YNW Bortlen dropped has the internet on fire. The streets are buzzing, timelines flooded, and everyone's asking the same question. Did he just shatter the code? What I'm about to break down is a decision that flipped the hood upside down. For over 6 years, Bortlen stood shoulder to shoulder with his childhood brother, YNW Melly. Through arrests, marathon court hearings, and a murder trial that dragged on forever, his loyalty never wavered. But on September 9th, 2025, everything changed. That date now stands as the day the street code in the YNW case officially died. Just hours before his own trial was about to start, Bortlen stunned the world. He cut a plea deal. And this deal doesn't just change his fate. It could leave Melly staring at the death penalty. Betrayal or survival? That's a debate tearing the culture apart. What makes it hit even harder is how close this case was to trial. His lawyers had their strategies sharpened. Their defense ready like they were gearing up for battle. Jurors had already been summoned, the courtroom set, and then everything flipped in an instant. After years of claiming innocence and promising he'd never fold, Bortlen finally hit the breaking point. The truth is, reality cornered him. With charges stacked sky high, the state breathing down his neck, and the thought of spending life behind bars pressing in, even the toughest soldiers might have folded. Bortlen wasn't just staring at a trial. He was staring at a future locked away forever. And when that kind of weight hits, loyalty becomes a luxury very few can afford. The prosecution stacked charges on YNW Bortlen like bricks in a wall, each one carrying a life sentence. It was pressure meant to crush him. At his plea hearing, the judge didn't hold back. Life in prison, followed by life in prison, followed by life in prison. Over and over until the final gut punch, 75 more years. It was a setup no man could walk away from untouched. Criminal defense attorney Bruce Rivers, known for keeping it raw, called it early. I always thought Bortlen might flip. And I don't hear anything in this plea that requires him to testify. He's taking 10 years, 6 on probation, with 7 already served. He could walk in 3, maybe 4. That's survival math. But the real danger wasn't the years. It was the fine print. The judge laid it out plain. Once Bortlen agreed to this deal, there was no backing out. Trial was supposed to begin the very next morning, with 250 jurors already summoned. The choice was brutal. Risk life stacked on life in a cage, or take the deal today. In the end, Bortlen pled guilty to accessory after the fact and tampering, dodging murder charges completely. 10 years in prison, 6 on probation. But the catch? He had to sit through a proffer session, what the streets call a snitch session. That's why the hood went crazy. In street terms, admitting you helped cover up murders is the same as handing prosecutors bullets for Melly's retrial. His plea destroyed the defense's biggest claim, that this was just a random drive-by. By signing, Bortlen confirmed in court it wasn't random. Murders happened, and he was in that car when they went down. Attorney Bruce Rivers didn't sugarcoat it. This is bad news for Melly. Once you take testimony for a lighter sentence, your credibility is shot. But it doesn't matter. The state just wants the inside story. With this, Melly's goose is cooked. Days later, Bortlen tried to clap back through music. From inside, he dropped a freestyle, firing back at the Rat label. His bars were raw. I'm 10 toes down. Why look like taking a deal that hurt my an asterisk, asterisk, asterisk? Why look like giving F asterisk, asterisk, asterisk how y'all feel? He painted his choice as survival, not betrayal. His lawyer, Fred Haddad, doubled down too, telling the media, I don't represent snitches. Bortlen is not a snitch. He will not testify against Melly. Period. But the streets weren't buying it. A proffer is a proffer. And everyone knows once you sit in that room, your words can cut deeper than bullets. That be why mid-September, Bortlen was transferred to a Florida reception center. His dreadlocks shaved, his new mugshot plastered everywhere, and projected release date locked in January 6, 2032. Meanwhile, Melly, already caged since 2019, faced what looked like the ultimate betrayal. His retrial in January 2027 could feature his day one brother sitting across the courtroom, armed with the insider knowledge prosecutors have been begging for. What began as a story of brotherhood, music, money, and loyalty out of Gifford, Florida, was now a full-blown betrayal saga. For Melly, the dream of proving innocence was slipping fast. And for Bortlen, that so-called survival deal may forever stamp his name in street history as the one who cracked. The story had always been framed like a textbook of tragedy. They had just left the studio, headed home, when, according to Bortlen, gunfire erupted out of nowhere. He claimed it was unknown shooters sliding up, spraying shots. Wrong place, wrong time. 2 young brothers lost to the cycle of violence. His words sounded believable, almost routine, the type of story cops hear every night. But detectives pressed for details, and Bortlen doubled down. I was driving, music up, nodding off, almost home. Then shots. I ducked, swerved, almost wrecked. Windows shattering, chaos everywhere. It sounded raw, even convincing. But when police locked down the scene, searching shoulder to shoulder, the truth didn't match. No shell casings, no glass fragments, no tire marks, not a single trace of a drive-by. That was the first red flag. Real drive-bys leave scars. Casings scattered on asphalt, glass glittering in streetlights, bullets tearing into buildings, fences, and cars. But here, nothing. The street was spotless. And yet, the Jeep told another story. 16 bullet holes, shattered windows, bodies riddled with gunfire. Something didn't add up, and detectives knew it. When they retraced the cruise steps, surveillance footage blew the case wide open. Cameras outside New Era Studios showed something Bortlen never said. There were actually 4 people in that Jeep. If convicted, the death penalty was back on the table. As for Bortlen, he was charged as the cleaner, the one who drove the bodies to the hospital, staged a drive-by, and lied to police. Years ticked by inside lock cells as both sides battled like it was war. Motions flew, evidence got challenged, and every hearing turned into a fight. Finally, in April 2023, jury selection began. By June, prosecutors laid it all out. The cell phone data, the ballistics, the autopsies, the step counts, even the call records. Piece by piece, they built their story of premeditated murder. But after 14 hours of heated deliberation, everything collapsed. The jury couldn't agree. Judge John Murphy had no choice but to declare mistrial on July 22nd, 2023. Just like that, years of buildup ended in a split decision. For Melly, it wasn't freedom, but it was a lifeline. He had dodged the death penalty, at least for the moment. The divide inside that jury room was brutal. Reports said some jurors leaned toward manslaughter, while others stood firm on cold-blooded murder. One juror was allegedly so disruptive, it poisoned the entire room. The final count? 9 against 3. No verdict. No closure. Just chaos. And while the mistrial gave Melly another shot at fighting for his life, it wasn't the end of the nightmare. His retrial was already set, his future still dangling between life and death. But just as the dust was starting to settle, everything flipped again, because YNW Bortlen broke, and his plea deal would shake this case to its very core.